good to have you, Joe. Thanks for being on the
Brad.
show, man.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Glad I'm finally getting to see you a little more often now that I'm back in Albany.
Here I am, man.
And,
Much to your long-term detriment, man.
No, man. No, you've been keeping it interesting for me since I've been up here, dude. I miss playing with you. It's been a while.
We're gonna play a lot soon.
Yeah.
We're gonna play a lot. I'm playing right in your neighborhood.
Yeah, man. We got a new jam coming to Albany, and you got like the hottest jam in Troy right now.
Yeah. Things are good. I have absolutely no complaints, man. None, zero. But the thing in Albany is gonna be cool because what we're doing, I'm bringing in a different soloist every week, and it's their gig. I have nothing to do with the music, the format, nothing. I'm just booking the soloists, and they choose what they want to do. Like next week, Dave Salazzo's going to be here next Tuesday, and I asked him if he wanted to do what his vision was, and you want to do like a Bill Evans thing, do you want to do like an Oscar Peterson thing, you want to do your own thing, and he was like, you know what, I just want to kind of play some standards, but I want to play my originals, and I'd like to play some of your tunes too.
Yeah.
You know, he was a big part of my growth as a musician, and has played a lot of my music over the years, and has helped me out a lot. You know, learning about certain styles I didn't know as well and all that. And he really enjoys playing my original tunes, which is cool because you know he has his own book and he has his own life and he has his own career, and he doesn't need to play anybody else's music, but he wants to. You know, so he's a really nice guy. He's a great musician, and he's super humble. So I'm really excited to have him here. And everybody's going to do their own thing, you know. Nick Masters, I think he's going to do more of that kind of Bill Evans thing, where he's going to just start playing, and we're just going to have to figure it out.
Cool, man. Yeah, have you gotten to like do a lot of that stuff down when you go down to the city, or has there been anyone up here that you've played?
Well,
with
I just got together with Rob
right?
Lindquist. Rob Lindquist.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I love Rob.
Yeah, I just got together with him and Jason Evan, and we played trio. And man, Rob blew me away. I haven't played with him in a long time, but I won't say shocked because I know he's a good musician, you know, but I didn't know he was that good now because I haven't had an opportunity to consume his playing, you know.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. And I grew up with the guy. I was playing with him when he was like 14 or something. 14, 16 years old. And now we're like grown men. In quotes.
Yeah, I love playing with Rob. I mean, he's like, as a soloist, his like ears insane.
Yeah.
Trying to like follow him through
his rhythm,
what he does.
His sense of rhythm.
Yeah.
His choice of chords.
Sounds he gets through the keyboard. I love playing with Rob.
Dude, he's on it, man. He's just one of the guys up here that's like killing.
Yeah, but you do an awesome job of bringing people into the scene that kind of, I feel like breathes a little life back into Albany. You know, like people talk about like when Justin's was open and the kind of gigs that would happen there. I feel like you're the main source of like of pulling in for people for sessions and things like that to kind of keep that side of the scene alive. Do you feel like jazz or improvisational music in the Capital Region has like its own? Are there things about it you notice that are kind of unique, or is it still kind of like derivative of what's going on in the city? You know what I mean?
I do. I want to say this without offending anybody. I think the lack of accessibility on a nightly basis to the greatest minds in the world has caused a lot of musicians in the Capital Region to become stale. They're still playing the same way they were 10 years ago. They're not making the time to evolve or the time to go down to the city for like a week, you know, or a weekend or during a vacation or whatever to absorb what's happening now. And I have a really unique advantage because I lived there. I went to school down there. I've stayed connected to a lot. Here's what I learned very early on. I learned this very early on. And this was a lesson I got from John Faddis, Charles Blenzig, Hal Galper. They all said, don't play with your peers. And they don't mean don't gig with them. What they said was, if you truly want to master this music and you truly want to be successful, hire the guys above you. Always be the worst guy.
Yeah.
And I've tried to make it a point to be the worst guy. You know, and like I'm playing with Gary Simoleon, Joe Magnarelli, Mickey Yamanaka. I mean, these are some of the greatest musicians alive. And I'm going to be probably the worst guy in that band. And that's, I think I'm pretty good at this point. I've worked very hard, and I'm finally at the point where I'm confident enough to say I can play. I know I can these guys wouldn't come up here to play with me if I couldn't, or or they wouldn't ask me to play with them, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I've kind of, and I've gotten the approval of a lot of these guys in private without provoking it. So putting myself in those circumstances or creating opportunities for them where they want me to be included has given me the opportunity to get my butt handed to me. And I mean that in the most positive way, because if you're not getting crushed up there, you're not learning.
That's one of the best things for you is learning to love getting your butt kicked. I mean, like it's embarrassing, but I love that. Like I said, you're bringing the people up here who do that. You're like, not that there aren't people locally who blow me away and challenge me, but it's
Absolutely.
like when I've seen one of the guys
Joe
so
Barna
many times. Well, that's the thing. Like I've seen the local guys so many times, and then when I come to see someone new I've never heard of, who is just like world class. The first time I saw you bring Joel Fromm up, like that was the first time I was watching a performance, and I literally like felt myself like I was like stopping breathing because I was so intense listening. Like,
how do you think I felt, bro? When the band stopped, it was just me and Joe Fromm. That clip on YouTube's got almost 30,000 views,
bro.
Really?
Is that on your channel or?
No, it's on Bernie's
Bootlegs.
Bro, and I see guys, I see some famous dudes up there that got like 1,000 views in 10 years, and then like this one clip of me and Joel Fromm playing duo on our rhythm changes has like revolutionized how to solo on our rhythm changes. People talk about it all the time, in New York and stuff. I want to get back to your question though about the capital region. There are guys around here who are willing to sound bad in order to sound good. And I think that's the healthiest approach to music. If you're not willing to sound your worst, then you're not willing to be the best. You understand?
Yeah.
Like you gotta go for shit. Like, I'm sorry, I can't swear, sorry.
Oh man, I should make a note of that. Whatever, I'll remember.
All right.
But I just gotta make sure I edit it.
Yeah, my bad.
But you're good.
But
well, that's like I've been doing stand-up comedy stuff, and I'm new and I suck.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Like
that's hard, bro. That's hard.
You have to bomb.
You gotta bomb.
It's the same thing. I just never appreciated it the same way in music until I did it in a way where it's like it's not just like, oh, their claps aren't super enthusiastic at the end of the song. It's like I'm up there and the next laugh is dependent on me. But the same way, it's like as much as I'm now comfortable with that kind of silence, being comfortable with like embarrassing yourself to the other musicians you're playing with.
Yes.
I feel like that's just like a part of like my mindset that I feel like.
But in a healthy way.
I want to be more comfortable.
It can't be self-deprecating. That's what I don't like. I don't like when people they say they're going for something, they're willing to sound bad, whatever, and then at the end of the year, like, dude, I'm so sorry, what happened? I apologize. Don't apologize for a single note you ever play. Don't ever apologize to anybody because they don't deserve it, and you shouldn't do that to yourself. Man, that note is gone. It's in the ether, man.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Like, let it go. Try to find the stuff you like and evolve through that. Like, I really dug how I played on that tune. I like that idea I came up with. I'm gonna go home and work on that, rather than like this self-deprecating attitude where it kind of writes off your mistakes by you like being hard on yourself. You can be hard on yourself if you want, but do it in here. Do it in here. Go home and work on it. Don't do that to the other band members, and don't do that to the music. There's no reason to feel bad about yourself. And if you're apologizing and you come back and do it again, now it's your fault. Understand? Yeah. Now you can be held accountable. And believe me, I'm not one to bite my tongue, because nobody bit their tongue with me. I mean, I get yelled at on my own bandstand by some pretty famous musicians in front of a pretty big audience, and other people would like put their tail between their legs and run and cry, and I didn't. I went to the practice room the next day and I worked on it, and I hired him again.
Yeah.
I
mean, we were just talking earlier on the phone about, there was someone I played with in the city, a musician we both know, who is a very heavy player who schooled me and would bluntly tell me when I was making those kind of mistakes. And a lot of players, I feel like, are uncomfortable hearing that, but that I needed to hear that. And I love when me putting myself out there yields me the reward of like honesty, because that's the kind of feedback I need. There's so much like, I'm sorry, 1 second, I just gotta fix this. But there's so much like things that are subjective and hard to develop into a specific place. It's more this general feeling that I feel like I'm trying to develop. I mean, is there anything that you feel like was super kind of subjective and hard to wrap your head around? Is it like a technique?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The hardest thing to do is to let yourself play the music. Just let yourself, instead of your mind telling your body to do this thing at that time, because it shuts your ears down. Okay. Every time you're thinking about what you're going to do, it shuts your ears off for a little bit. Okay. And then you can lose the pulse. Sometimes it won't be swinging, or the pocket won't be there. I've done it a lot, and I got beat up over it a lot. You know, people there. Nobody was shy about telling me, but believe me, and I took a lot of harsh criticism from friends, from guys in New York, from John Riley. I got a story I put up on Facebook about something John Riley said to me, and it hurt, and it got me crying, man. But it got me crying because I knew he was right. He basically said I was pretty sad in his own intellectual way, and that I would never make it in a real city. You know, I'll paraphrase. He said, people up in Albany, for the most part, don't really know the difference, so they're going to give you allowances. Whereas down here, there are none. There's none. You are judged on how you play right now, not how you're going to play in 5 years. And it's very serious. I just went down and sat in with David Gibson's quartet at Smalls, and I just tried to play the pocket with the bass player and make the band feel good, and it felt really good. And I learned how to do that by playing with guys like that when I was younger, and Lee Shaw helped me with that. She helped me with that. She's a huge influence. Don't try to play the music; just play the music. As Hal Galper says, if you can swing, then you don't need to try to do it.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to swing? How can you try to swing? And again, about your question about up here, the difference between up here is like, yeah, there are guys that can play. George Muscatello is a bad dude. You know what I mean? I think Adam Siegel, Rob Lindquist, Jason Emmon, Otto Gardner. I'm spitting just the jazz crowd. This guy Chris Potter, he's killing. Chad McLaughlin. There are guys up there, but there's not enough of them that are putting themselves together in circumstances where they can flourish, all at once. The biggest issue up here, I don't know if you face this, I don't know how it is on your side, but I see a lot of musicians hiring people that they feel safe around. You know what I mean? Musically safe. Because they don't want to be challenged, and they don't want to make mistakes, and they don't want to feel like somebody else is bullying them because they're playing at a level above them. But if you hire the greatest musicians, instead of hiring guys that make you feel good, hire the guys that are going to make you good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of dudes that make me feel good when I hang out with them, but I know they're not going to make me good because they're not going to kick my butt. They're not going to push me around up there.
Yeah.
And I want that. I want guys to push me around on the bandstand because they're going to make me overly aware of what I need to work on. And I'm going to be 47 this year, and it's like I feel like I'm 18, man. Intellectually, I'm older and I've learned a lot and I have a lot of lessons, but I still have that vigor and that energy and that fire of when I was like 18. Like that's never going to go away.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of bands up here, man, and a lot of the older musicians, 50 and above, specifically hiring guys that aren't going to push them around. And it's like, well, I mean, you can do that, but you're kind of doing a disservice to yourself. You should, if you're a band leader, you should try to be, if not the worst musician in the band, at least have everybody at the same level, So at least you can kind of nudge each other. Playing it safe in music it's not good. It isn't good. Imagine Miles Davis played it safe, or John Coltrane played it safe, or Duke Ellington played it safe, or Coleman Hawkins, or imagine it doesn't make Bill Evans. Imagine they played it safe. Who would they be? They'd be nobody. We wouldn't know who they are.
Yeah, well, it's like you said, you can't be afraid of that. Like, there's so many things you can call it, but that's just like that negative feedback or that embarrassment on the gig when you put yourself out there to be exposed to that. And I feel like there are definitely people who aren't, I don't know, as keen to that or as keen to going to like jams and more open things like that, where you really it's the opportunity to do that. And I'm glad that you're starting in Albany too, because I think.
Let's get back to that too. So this is not a jam. This is an invite. All right, understand?
Oh, the one
in Albany is going to be like an invite.
Okay.
Like if we have guys out there that we're friends with, we know can play, we'll invite them up. But don't think you're going to come and just jam with us. These guys are coming out of town. They're driving a long way. Um, People want to see them and hear them, and I don't want the level to go down. You know, so I will invite people up. I mean, if they can play, and I don't mean if they sound like Chris Potter, or Joe Fromm. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they have an semblance of jazz repertoire and content in their playing and have a good feel. So we can have some continuity on the bandstand.
Yeah.
Because these guys are bad dudes. John Elbaz, he's going to be here on the 17th. And John Elbaz is one of the absolute monsters of piano. I don't care what age you are. It doesn't matter. I don't even see his age when he plays. He's 26 or something like that. But he is scary good. Like, woo-wee. First time I heard him, I was like, what the? What are you doing, bro?
Yeah, well, I told you about the first time. He's a mad scientist, dude. I love his playing. He does such cool things with the standards, and I don't know. I gotta get back into shedding standards and getting tight with all the repertoire, just because I've been busy. Like, I'll do a pop gig, or I'll do.
Why don't you just make it a point? Make it a point to hire a piano player or a guitar player and a drummer who are gonna push you around, man, and just do some sessions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can sit in a room for the rest of your life by yourself and learn the notes, man. But that ain't gonna do it. That's not gonna do it. You think all these guys like Oscar Pettiford and Ray Brown and all the guys sat in a practice room all day? Hell no. They were gigging, man. And they were talking about the music. And they were sitting down and listening to the music with each other and saying, what do you think about that line? Or, rewind it. I want to hear that. Let's hear that piano riff again. You know what I mean? Like, this is the old school way. I was very fortunate to get hooked up with Ralph LaLama, Gary Simoleon and Joe Magnarelli and all the guys that came out of like the Buddy Rich band, the Woody Herman band, the last major crop of guys, because they would not allow me not to learn this music. They were like, I don't need to come up here and play with you. Like, I got other things I could be doing. You're not paying me enough to come up here. So, you need to get this together. If you're serious, and I think you are, right? I remember my first gig I did with Joe Magnarelli. I called him to play with It was him and Ralph, I think Dave Payette and Adam Cote.
Oh yeah, Adam Cote. Yeah.
I think that's who it was. And we were playing at Justin's. We got done with the gig, and Joe Magnarelli turns around, leans over to drums. He goes, "Yeah, man, you're doing it the right way." That was it. That's it. What he was saying was, "You have my approval to move forward. We're not going to stop you. We're not going to hold you back, because you're going for the right thing. It's authentic." He was authenticating what I was doing. And I had the same situation with Joe Fromm one time. These guys, they're very open and very warm and loving and honest. And it's been a blessing. I've been very fortunate. I don't take it for granted. And I'm also fortunate that I was going to Purchase and I was hanging out in New York all the time, and I met all these guys and I became friends with them, and they trust me and they let me bring them up here. And they let me be a part of what they're doing. That's how the networking of that has led to such amazing things up here and given opportunities for other musicians to come out. Like, I think if, like, on the John Elbaz show, it's like, it's a Tuesday night. If you have the night off and you're a piano player and you live in the Capital Region, man, you got to do yourself a favor and go listen to this guy in person, because it will blow your mind. He's ferocious, and it's just like, he's such a nice guy too. He just makes everything cool.
Yeah.
He's honest. He's super honest. He will tell I've been in a situation where he told the bass player, "Dude, that's not it. Like, why we were playing."
Yeah, no, dude. I've seen it too, man. Dude. I love his playing, and if anyone knows it, like, I don't know. It's just like with you and with the guys you bring up. It's like you can hear when someone just has like an opinion about it. It's not even like, obviously one person doesn't get to like know everything, but it's like, when you spend the time with the music, you have opinions about it. Like, there's a history, and there's a way to do things, and it blends with the way other people do things. I mean, like, a lot of what we're talking about is the term jazz, the style of performance, and there's a lot of people who will talk about the term jazz as like an unnecessary term. Since like Charles Mingus and Miles Davis talked about it, there is a certain connotation to the term. And I fully see where people like Nicholas Payton or the guys at the Jazz is Dead project will say, like, I see why people say the term is useless, and when I hear that, just personally to me, the term kind of has always referred to, like, I guess just the way jazz artists approach improvisation and a certain history of the music that's like centered on like Black American music. You know, I see all that, and that's just personally what the term means to me. Like, what is the term meant to you, and has
I
there
think
been
it's.
challenges for you?
I'm going to tell you, I'm on the other side of the fence. I think it's very important to label things. It's very important. It's very important. It's an identifier. If I didn't know your name, that's your label, whether you want it to be or not. Your label is Brad. What do you want me to do? It's like, hey, guy with the mohawk. Is that what you want me to do? You want me to go, hey, guy with the shirt on with the stripes. You know what I'm saying? Is that what you want? You want me to just like call you random things?
I don't. Yeah, I don't think. Again, I don't think you. I don't think getting rid of the term is like. I don't necessarily agree when people say like, oh, just don't use the term, because to me it means that specific thing. I think like
it identifies a situation, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, like it to me, that's what I think is like the style of improvisation and a certain history of musicians. But then when you actually look at individual musicians, I feel like really genre terms in general don't always do a person justice, because I don't think anyone who's a jazz artist can really be fully encapsulated by just the.
But it identifies
jazz, right?
the situation. It identifies the situation. I don't think it's meant to identify an artist. I think it's meant to identify a situation. I can't just call a bass player and go, hey, I have a gig on Saturday. Can you do it? Yeah. And then he shows up, and he thought he was just going to be playing like pop tunes. He's never played a jazz gig in his life, and it's all jazz standards playing with a nasty piano player. He's going to get embarrassed.
Yeah.
You have to label what it is. You have to. You're going to put yourself in circumstances that are completely unnecessary, and you're going to wind up misleading others if you don't use labels.
Well, of course, in a situation like that, it's like you're kind of leaving out vital information if you don't give like the context of the gig. But I don't know. I feel like some people might say that's like, well, you're using like a corporatized example of
no,
like the way that the term is used. Like, I guess what I'm saying in more of like a way where the term doesn't do the music justice is just when you're talking about like this group is getting together to make a new kind of music, and even if it's that kind of improvisation that would be referred to as jazz, I can see where there might be just more to be desired in classifying. You know what I mean? I don't think jazz is like a wrong term for it, but I definitely don't think it's like the best term for like a new artist who's doing something improvisation. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't put an improvising musician in the category of jazz. Jazz is a stylistic thing. It identifies content. It identifies a certain history and lineage and content. You know? And I think that it's important that you identify that so musicians can collectively understand the situations they're putting themselves in. I think it's very important. I don't want to neglect that. You know, I don't want to. Jazz can be a lot of things, but when I call somebody and I never met before, I ask them, "Are you a strong jazz player? Like, do you have a lot of that together?" You know, because if they don't, they show up in the gig, it's not going to be good.
Well, and that obviously when you're talking about a gig, that's the best way to figure it out. And then when people know, what you're talking about when you say that and what's expected on the gig, I definitely see how it's like useful in that sense. But yeah, I don't know. It's not like I think there's anything like I believe in stopping using the word specifically. I just think it refers to a really specific thing, and I guess I'm curious about how people use it, how they thought of it when they started using it.
Well, jazz can be a lot of things. There's a lot of Horace Silver played a lot of Latin stuff. Lou Donaldson played a lot of boogaloo music. You know, it can encompass a lot of different areas of music. But I think the main component of it is to glue together a unit of individuals that have collectively invested their time into a very specific thing so that they can make music on a high level together without anybody holding them back. I think that's, I don't look at it as a label to completely isolate a genre. Yeah. There are many subgenres within it. You know?
Yeah.
I think the label is very important. I'm glad my name is Joseph. I'm proud of that. And that's my label, and I'm okay with it. And I call the music I play jazz. It is jazz. Whether I'm playing a Roy Hargrove tune, with a backbeat, or I'm playing a Horace Silver tune, or I'm playing in a piano trio like Bill Evans, it's like it's all jazz because there's a specific content that's being used. There's a specific vocabulary and a vernacular within the music that's being used to make this situation work.
Yeah.
You know?
Is there any artists that you get like frustrated like when people call them jazz artists? Like to me, like Duke Ellington is almost better called like Black American classical music. You know what I mean? Like just something like that. And again, I don't feel that strongly about it. It's not like if someone calls him that, it's like that's totally wrong. But it's that's where I start to feel like the term's just not doing it justice.
I don't know. I'm gonna leave that question alone.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a very sensitive topic. You know, what somebody wants to perceive as that, they can perceive. I'm gonna let everybody have their
Yeah.
It can get frustrated because like the only thing that frustrates me sometimes is like I'll meet somebody for the first time, right? And they'll be like, "Oh, so what do you do?" I'm a musician. I play a lot of jazz. You know, "Oh, I love jazz. I listen to Boney James and I love Kurt Whalum." And I'm like, "So you dig pop music? You're into pop music? You know what I mean?" But since somebody put them in the jazz, they didn't know where to put them, so they put them in the jazz category at the record store. So now they identify that as jazz, but it's just pop music without a singer. They're literally playing pop tracks, and the guy does a little bit of improvisation. There's not a ton of improvisation. It's all written out. So with the lack of improvisation and the lack of content from the jazz idiom, I don't know how I could conceivably identify that as jazz. You know, it's hard for me to get to it's hard for me to get by that. I'm not saying other people can't because that's what they identify it as. That's cool.
Yeah.
I would never challenge them on that. I'm just like, okay, cool. You know, like in my mind though, I'm going, well, okay, it's not really, that's not in the genre. There's some elements to it. I mean, then you got to call Tower of Power a jazz band. You know, you got to call Earth, Wind and Fire a jazz band because they got a horn section and they take solos. So is that a jazz band? No. The difference between them and the smooth jazz artists is they have singers. That's the only difference. So I don't know how you're going to do that. How are you going to, since there's no vocalist, you know, that doesn't take away the elements that are being played by the musician. That doesn't negate that, you know. But again, I think whatever you feel good about calling something, because we have free will, I think that's fine. I'm not going to put anybody down for feeling a certain way or having been exposed to something in a particular light.
Yeah.
That's their journey, man. You know what I mean?
And everyone has their own relationship with the term and with the music.
Yeah, absolutely.
With every part of it. And then, like, even in the subgenres, there's probably places we would disagree. There's probably things that I feel strongly about. Like, okay, here's something I think of. Like, if like one of my favorite albums of all time in the jazz idiom is Herbie Hancock's Thrust, which is like a jazz funk fusion.
That's a jazz record, bro. I don't care.
Well, yeah, I would say that.
Listen to what Herbie's playing.
I would say that, but like, and there's definitely like clear elements throughout. But like one of my favorite parts of it is Mike Clark's drumming on the record, and from listening to his interviews, I almost feel like he would consider like his drumming on things like Palm Grease or Butterfly pop drumming. But I would like far from think that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying like individually, I could see how people could see it differently. I mean, you wouldn't see it that way, right?
I can't see it that way.
Exactly, but I'm just saying, I from listening to Mike Clark's interviews, I almost feel like he thinks that's pop, like compared to what he thinks is jazz. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's coming out of '60s Motown and soul. You know the way he approached playing those tunes. It's like, Jabbo Starks and Clyde Stubblefield and stuff like that. Like he's coming out of that. They were all jazz drummers. All these guys played jazz, man. Most of those Motown guys came out of jazz. A lot of these guys were playing other kinds of music, and they just happened to be the best at what they did, and they got hired to do this specific genre. They're still bringing elements of jazz to it,
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, Mike is swinging on like actual proof.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Again, Mike has earned the right to decide what he views himself as, and what his accomplishments are. He's certainly earned the right, so he can have that opinion, but I wouldn't necessarily agree if he felt really strongly about labeling it that. I don't know if I would agree with that. I would say that all those records are definitely jazz records because the elements are there. The improvisation, the chordal harmonies, the content, the loose improvisational ensemble playing. I mean, it has all the elements.
Yeah, that was just an example. I guess I could see, like I was saying, like this. That's how I see it, but I could see this person disagreeing, or like you explain, like some stuff that sounds kind of poppy. To me, I feel like there is like a area of that stuff that I really like. That's like I don't know what I would call it, like soul jazz, or like it's kind of poppy. It's kind of like funk
Sure,
influence,
yeah.
or like that kind of stuff. But it's I see what you're saying with like pop without the vocals and stuff, and I like a lot of that stuff. Is that like separate from jazz history to you?
Yes. Yeah. It doesn't follow in the lineage. It's not incorporating the key elements involved in that music, and I think it would negate the original derivative content of the people that created it. The specific rhythms and the specific feels and the you know the certain improvisational content or component of it that it came from. You know, when you leave those things out, it'd be very hard for me to say it's music history, sure, or it's in the evolution of instrumental music.
Yeah.
It certainly is part of the history, but I don't know that I would say it's part of jazz history.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
and again, I'm not right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's what I want to know. I want to know
Yeah.
what the term means to you. That's what
Yeah, I'm
I'm
not
talking
right.
about.
It's just my perspective. You know, it's like saying who's the best drummer, who's the best bass player. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing. You know.
Yeah.
It's like who's the best anything. There is no such thing as best because what you might dig, I might not dig. So that's your best, but my best is a little different. You know what I mean? I think everybody's contribution is important. Everybody that is contributing to something is important in some way, but it's up to the observer to decide how they're going to interpret that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think there's one blanket way of doing it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So
Well, okay, so if we're gonna leave the realm of jazz and a lot of the stuff that you um, feel really passionately about, is there like another style that people would not expect you to be into that you're like all about?
oh man, I listened to a lot of the stuff that Steve Gadd did. You know, stuff he did with like, I mean, everybody: Eric Clapton, Paul Simon,
Steely Dan.
Steely Dan. I love Steely Dan.
Seen stuff.
Yes, he did stuff. He did Gadd's Gang, Booker T. You know, stuff he's played with Booker T. Like, I like that stuff. I like a lot of stuff Dennis Chambers did. I like a lot of stuff that I like Journey. Journey's one of my favorite bands of all time. And again, they had a jazz drummer. You know what I mean? The guy's a jazz drummer.
I don't know a lot of Journey.
Journey.
I gotta get him.
Dude, Journey's killing. Journey's killing. But I definitely step outside of the realm of what I'm into. I got Santana in the car. His greatest hits. You know, listen to that because there's so many elements of jazz and improvised music and Latin music and pop music. You talk about somebody that melts styles together. I mean, that guy took a little bit from everywhere.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And he's playing with like Michelle Branch, and so it's like the guy just he's a phenomenon. I mean, he found a way to get through all these styles. I mean, his favorite musician of all time is John Coltrane.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. He talks about Coltrane all the time.
Well, yeah, I think it's really cool when a musician can blend stuff that way because, like, personally for me, one of my favorite composers of all time is Frank Zappa.
Oh,
and he works in so many different styles that, to me, his music is a genre is enough content to be a genre of its own.
Absolutely.
That's derivative of like every genre.
It's a contemporary classical pop jazz music. It's like whoa.
Because it's orchestrated as densely as orchestral and big band stuff, and then they get up there, and then when it comes to the solo, then they'll just do whatever, and it's completely improvised, and then they've got like comical references to things or quotes of other music, or they'll just jump into another style for a few seconds. It's
incredible.
I feel like they hit everything.
And there's an element of humor to it that makes it fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's kind of wacky, man. So it's cool. He tries these different weird sounds with a bike. He'll use a bicycle and stuff.
Yeah,
it's cool that I can't do that. Like my mind doesn't work like that. But like when I see people do it, all right, man. You know, it's cool. He's like going for something different. That almost makes it more jazz than like that smooth jazz stuff. Even though he's not playing jazz, because he's willing to put himself in a position to sound ridiculous.
Well, it's like honest.
It's honest. It's authentic. It's honest. It's improvised. It's everything. He's got it all happening, man. That's a great example.
And I think he's got a lot of that. He has a lot of that vocabulary within him. You know, he's speaking like Eric Dolphy and stuff like that. He was, and I feel like he like I feel like what he does had a lot of elements of jazz in it, and I feel like he just kind of crammed that into a context where he could like almost say with his music literally anything. I feel like it's like so open. He like can bring reggae into a jazz context out of nowhere during his live shows.
He's a genius.
Comedy.
Guy's a genius. He's a genius. He can substantiate or substantiate any kind of music and involve it in a concept and mold it together to create something completely abstract but totally fresh and interesting and engaging. You know, it's like watching a car wreck almost. It's like you can't, you should watch it, but you can't look away.
Yeah.
You know?
Some of those Zappa videos more than others. It gets weird.
What about Captain Beefheart or whatever?
Oh, I know some Captain Beefheart. I'm not super deep. I don't know the songs by heart, but it's cool. It's awesome. It's not like as up my lane as Zappa, but I mean, are there any other examples of artists who, like you said, you're not typically into comedy in the music. I'm not, like, in particular, even though I like Zappa a lot. I feel like he just kind of wins me over. Is there anyone who you feel like achieves that in like even in just a minor way, like a soloist that you have played with who just takes the chance to be like kind of silly?
Joe Fromm, 100%. He'll start improvising on the Star Wars theme.
Yeah.
Or whatever. He'll start playing that in his soul, and he'll see if it'll take him somewhere. And people will laugh. He'll laugh, dude. I got a video of him playing one of my tunes. It's on YouTube again. I didn't put it up. Where he plays this old 70s tune or something by accident on one of my ballads, and he literally takes the horn out and laughs, and then plays it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it happened on its own, so it was supposed to be there. You know, he didn't try to play it, but he played it note for note.
Yeah.
It's just inside of him, and he's a fun guy. He's cool. You know, so that's number one for me. He's the guy that does that. Jerry Weldon too. Jerry Weldon is another guy that'll play some corny line or whatever, but make it sound like the most beautiful thing you've ever heard.
Yeah.
You know, it's those guys have an element of humor to their playing and a sincerity and an honesty and authenticity that's, again, it's engaging. You can see these guys being vulnerable and not being afraid to play something like that. And I think that's a really important part of the music, is that you don't get too serious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta. It's gotta be fun. People come to my show. I act crazy at my show. I say crazy stuff. You know, I'll play something completely out of context sometimes or whatever, just to see what the reaction will be. You know, you've got to enjoy it. It has to be fun. At the end of the day, music. Remember the first day you sat down with your instrument and you were just like, "Damn, this is cool. I love this. I want to do this, and I want to keep that feeling forever. I don't want to ever forget how I felt the first time."
Yeah.
You know, keep it fresh.
Yeah, man. I mean, with like not being afraid to play things that are in the moment and very like, and almost just to see how it sounds, just to like feel funny. I feel like that is like a level of being comfortable with your playing that almost like eliminates mistakes. I almost feel like when I play something that sounds funny, like if I hit a weird part on the neck of the bass, that sound has like a certain buzz to it that almost like changes the character of the note. I feel like repeating that stuff and sticking with the mistake and latching on to like any like moment of tension.
It becomes part of your sound, bro. It becomes part of the vibe.
Yeah, and I'm not into comedy music. I consider what I like in comedy very separate from music. When I'm playing, I'm usually just focused on making noises and not anywhere near the same kind of like brain pathways I'm firing when I think about comedy. But when something happens like that, I love to lean into it in music and in the moment.
I tell you a story, man. I don't know if it was David Whitfield or Nick Masters. We were playing, and we go to, man, this is crazy. The piano tuner had just left. warm it up, and there's a note all the way to the top. There's like a B flat or something, and the thing it sounds like all the strings are broke. It's like bink, bink, bink.
Yeah.
So he started soloing on the note. Bink, 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 bink. You know?
That's what I think every
and I was
time
like,
I
yes,
see that
man.
piano. I just think use it.
Use it, man.
The problem.
He was like, I'm gonna find. He would go up there and bang and hit it, like just on purpose.
Yeah.
And it was like funny, man. It sounded horrible, but it was like it felt like it was such a part of what was happening.
Yeah,
it was funny, man.
It's like the best kind of like idiom, like in a piece of music. It's like, oh, this part, like, oh, in this part of the form of the song, you hear this happen, and it tells you where you are in the song. Well, I feel like to have that one specific sound you can use.
It was funny.
It's like it reminds everybody, like, oh, it's that piano. Like it's. I love things like that. That like they almost force you to like mold your improv around them.
It makes it real, man. Like that's real life. Think about your life. You get a flat tire, on your car. You don't want that. Or, you rip the sole of your shoe, man. You got a hole in your shoe, or you get a stain on your shirt. Well, I mean, things happen.
Yeah.
It's out of your control. Just what are you gonna do with it? How are you gonna get through this? The best way to do it is with comedy. Is just to make it fun.
Yeah.
Make it fun. Find a way to make it fun. No matter what you're doing in life, find a way to make it fun. Nobody wants to be around a drag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Find a way to make things fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Man. Now, when it comes to comedy outside of music, do you have any particular favorite comedic influence, like things that just bring you a lot of joy in that realm, whether it's a stand-up or a movie or a TV show or a book or anything like what like that? Who do you think is delivers the art of comedy to you best?
Okay, so there's different genres, man. There's physical comedy. There's kind of gross comedy. There's rude comedy. There's there's racial comedy. There's whatever you want. There's so many different styles. I find myself gravitating towards guys that are intellectually astute, but very loose physically with what they're doing. So I would say Will Ferrell, George Carlin. I like Jim Carrey in his movies, in his early movies, like Ace Ventura, the original one. I went and saw that twice in the movie theater. Chevy Chase, early Chevy Chase. The physical with the intellectual, when you combine those things, because stupid comedy doesn't do it for me. I'm not into this new comedy, awkward comedy they're calling it, the awkward comedy, Jimmy Fallon kind of stuff, doesn't do it for me. I like the intellectual combined with the physical. And that stuff I can watch that. I watched Anchorman 22 times in March of 2006.
I love that movie.
I couldn't stop, man. Every day I found a new line or a new way that Steve Carell would move his eyes or something. I was just like, found myself analyzing this movie. I also like kind of like stuff that makes you think, like The Truman Show.
That I haven't seen.
I think that's what we're kind of living in. Ultimate surveillance state, and that's what The Truman Show is about. It's like he didn't realize that like he was just being monitored all the time. So yeah, it was supposed to be a funny movie, but it wasn't really that funny when you really thought about the concept. So it was super intellectual. You had to approach it from a smarter perspective. He couldn't just be silly Jim Carrey, I like those kind of guys. I like some early Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
I like young Eddie Murphy. I like Bill Burr.
Bill Burr's amazing.
Bill Burr, man, that guy, he is smart, man. And some people, I don't know, maybe some women don't like him or something. He makes a lot of girl jokes and stuff, and he does, but he's so smart, and his delivery is like so strong. I have a hard time not liking him.
Yeah.
Like I want to watch his next thing. I want to hear him.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm so excited. Paper Tiger was amazing. I mean, all the names you're saying, they're all like
they're geniuses.
Yeah.
They're brilliant. They didn't get to where they are because they're not brilliant. Some people do. They have an in. They have a family member that was in Hollywood or some crap, and they pull them in. They give them whatever. Nepotism. Whatever.
Yeah.
These guys, I mean, they worked hard, man. They worked very, very hard at what they do, and I find them to be absolutely hysterical. I like Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn's great.
Vince Vaughn crushes it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, old school.
Yeah.
Oh my man, Wedding Crashers.
Yeah.
What's the one where him and Janet Aniston broke up? They broke up, or they got divorced or something, or My ex-boyfriend or something, or so, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Man, he, oh man, he cracked me up in that movie. I find that guy to be hysterical, and he's also doing it in a very like ordinary way. He's just like an ordinary guy. He happens to be like 6'6" and like 260 pounds. He's a big guy.
He's got a look, but he's very like he just does like a great job of that character.
I could see him at like the local brew pub at the end of the bar, sipping on an IPA, like just chilling in a flannel shirt. Like he's got this very honest quality to him that I really dig. I like all these guys. I'm into comedy, man.
Yeah.
I also like serious actors too. But when I watch a movie, it has to be super intense or super funny. That's what I'm into.
Yeah, I feel that.
You know, I'm like that with music, man. It's got to be just super fun or super serious, one or the other. Like, if it's because I got to get my head in. I want my head to be there. I want to get my head into it. I'll give you an example. Last night I showed up to my own gig. Right, I gave the guys a set list. We only play my originals at this gig. That's it. Right, and people love it, and the band loves it. I showed up last night and I was like, "Put your books away. We're just gonna play standards." And they're like, "What do you mean?" It was confusing, you know. Yeah. And I said, I don't want to play my tunes. I want to try stuff tonight. You can't do that on my tunes. My tunes are specific, and I can't break them up like that. I said, I don't even care what we play. If somebody start playing a tune or call a tune, I don't care. And we tried stuff on them. It wasn't just like we were just getting through the tune. We went for it. We were really trying to find things in these tunes, and it went over. Last night was unbelievable. The place was packed. People were dancing. My mother, who's 75 years old next month, doesn't even know how to use her cell phone. She's got her phone up, like videotaping like this, and she's going like this. I was just, because they could feel us like stepping away from ourselves, letting it go. These people felt it, and they're cheering, and all the musicians showed up. And I was just like, man, people really want to see others be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I felt it that night when I walked in. I also watched this new documentary about Paul Motion called Motion in Motion. Watch that. Watch it tonight, man. I'm telling you, it'll change your perspective on everything. It blew my mind, man. I watched this 2 nights ago, and I was mesmerized.
Yeah, I don't really know much about Paul Motion.
Oh, check it out. Paul Motion, Motion in Motion. Go on YouTube or whatever, or search it. It completely flipped my brain around of like how I viewed music. That's like the way he's viewing is how I viewed it in the beginning. Then I went to school and I got taught I had to learn this and I had to learn that. And you got to play this lick at the end. And he doesn't do any of that. He literally just shows up and sees what's going to happen. And you see it go through the entire process, the entire evolution from the 60s until he died. It's incredible. They do interviews with all of his bass players. Okay, Larry Grenadier, Gary Peacock, all the bass players that are still alive, they're all on there talking about it. You should check it out, man. It'll give you some serious insight on how to work yourself in and out of the fabric, weave yourself in and out of the fabric of jazz when you're on a jazz gig. It was captivating. I couldn't believe it. It even got me to bring different cymbals to my gig last night. I was just like, I can't even play the cymbals I love right now. I got to play these other ones because I can't unear him right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was awesome. I felt alive. I just felt so alive last night. Well, you heard Joe. You just did a rehearsal, right? So your drummer was like, I left because I couldn't sit in after you, man. It's like you were in some sort of zone. It's like I didn't want to ruin it,
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. For the listeners, every Monday night, 5 Winning Craft in Troy. That's the hang.
Yeah, man.
I still gotta make it. I've been swamped lately.
Yeah, you get there, man. You get there, bro. I'm gonna be right in your hometown.
Yeah.
So.
And then Lark is gonna be every Tuesday, right?
Every Tuesday, yeah.
So
different
Tavern
solos.
Albany every Tuesday.
I got a great thing going on in May. I'm playing the 21st through the 28th. I got a lot of different musicians on board, but the primary chunk of that is like on Sunday, the 22nd of May. I'm gonna be playing at the Lark Tavern at 6 p.m. for my CD. My brand new CD came out, The Purpose, with Davis Whitfield on piano, Stacy Dillard on soprano and tenor, and then James Robbins on bass and myself. And we're doing a CD release party that night. So we're going to play the record live, and then we're going to let our friends sit in, Oh. So, man, if you're free on the 22nd of May, definitely come hang. You do want to play with these guys. They are bad dudes, and they are going to definitely push you to play stuff that you didn't know you could play. I mean, Davis and Stacy are two of the geniuses of modern jazz music, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you talk about improvising. That they like legit improvise. You know, they're not just playing what they shed at home. That's not how they operate. And that's why I love playing with them, because I can't do that with them. I can't go on autopilot with them because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're playing a guy that plays just like Dexter Gordon. You can almost go on autopilot to some degree because you know the style. You know what your job is. With these guys, I don't know what's going to happen, man. I'm like, it's on my edge of my seat all night playing the drums. I'm like, just got to pay attention. I got to pay attention, keep my ears open, and make this happen. And the joy and the love that they play with. You hear it, I'm like, okay, well, you heard the grind, right?
Yeah.
You heard the grind. What do you think?
Well, I heard the purpose too, and I feel like you guys like are able to go like places together improvisationally that aren't. It's not just like, oh, show up to the gig and spang a lang and through a chorus. Like you guys actually like reach places. I mean, it's cool that you do the live records, but just like the ideas they take, and they'll string along and they'll stay on something. They'll make a point and
they'll build it.
I feel like you guys do a really great job of that together, where it's none of it sounds like another tune or another way someone would approach it. You guys really like were reaching for stuff together, and you all sound amazing.
And they all put their stamp on my originals. They all make my tunes sound like they wrote it.
And then they have big personalities. And that's one of the things I love about improvisation is when people are willing to put their stamp on it. I mean, like that, because that's, I don't know. I feel like early college, I would hear people talk about players who they thought they're playing like, oh, well, they sound the same on a lot of things, and I feel like I would usually disagree, and I'd be like, no, I don't think they do. I guess I see what you're saying, and then later I came to realize I feel like there are people who know how to lean into what they like, and even if you're doing like, oh, they played that lick or they played that sound, it's like if you can associate that piece of music with like your identity in music, I feel like that's more.
And it's not yours, and you can still
just trying to play something different every time.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's separate from having like a style, like having sounds that you associate with yourself, and like you said, put your stamp on something.
I think guys like Stacy and Davis, and there's a lot of them, but those two in particular, we play the tune at a rehearsal, whatever once. That's it. Okay, before we record, and then we go and we do our shows and whatever. But even in that rehearsal, the very first time we played the tune, they are listening to the tune. They're not trying to figure out how they want to do it. They're internalizing what it actually sounds like. And then they're determining their direction based on what they're hearing rather than what they want to play. And it makes it so interesting because I'm telling you, so when we do these records, right, we record anywhere from 4 to 6 sets live, okay? Mm-hmm. And if I played all 6 takes of that tune, absolutely none of them sound the same. Oh, yeah. Completely different improvisations, completely different approach, sometimes a different tone, a different sound. Even on these 2 records, the grind and the purpose, it's like there's 12 tracks collectively. They don't play the same there's not a duplicate like approach on either. It's like every track is new again. Everything is fresh again, you know? It's a lot of fun to play with people like that and playing your originals. They're not just relying on their practice habits. It's really instinct and vulnerability, and they're allowing themselves a chance to become part of the composition.
Good.
It's awesome. I think like Stacy's solo on The Grind, right? Davis's solo on that tune.
Just making sure this is still good. Go on.
Ophi Line.
Yeah.
The second track.
I think that's my favorite. Like,
dude, that piano solo is insane, man. It's like, and his piano intro on The Return of Shah.
Yeah.
We were on stage. I was just like, how am I gonna come in after that? I mean, I just started hitting hard. Like that's, you can hear it. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna come in hard because I can't do that. I can't play at that level. So what I can do is come in with some high energy.
Yeah.
You know, and you can see it on the video. I have that concert recorded on video too. I have it up on my Facebook page in different clips, each tune. And you can see I'm just like, all right, boom. I smash the cymbals because I'm like, all right, man. You know, I had no idea that was about to happen.
Yeah.
You know, I said, play a little intro. And that's what he played. And I was like, oh, come on, dude. You know?
Yeah, I don't think I even ever got to hear that tune in person. Because a lot of those tunes I heard when you, like, around when you wrote them.
When I was trying them out.
Shy had, and I first heard that one on the record. And that tune was brash. You got, like,
dude,
I feel like that was, like, some of the highest energy on the record.
A lot of energy. That crowd was going nuts after that tune, man.
Yeah. Where was that at again? It was in
Charlotte, North Carolina, Middle Sea Jazz Club. And I do all my albums are live, man, because I think this music is for people. And what better way to represent what you're doing than to have people be a part of it, you know? And we don't really edit. I mean, there's very few edits on those two records. You know, there was a couple that we had to make simply because the track wouldn't fit on the record. So we had to, like, cut out a drum solo here, cut out when we traded fours a couple times, we had to cut them because I can't cut their stuff out. You know what I mean? Because everybody's still playing. It would sound weird if you know, going from making a splice somewhere and then, like, the vibe changes, you know? Yeah. So we had to keep the vibe. So I'm at the end of the tunes when nobody else is really playing. So you can take that out, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's really just almost uncut and raw and live, and I like doing that. And we're doing another one at the Strand Theater. We're recording May 24th and 25th, again, at the Strand Theater.
So this is like a series of 3 albums. Like the Grind, the Purpose, and like, are they all part of one body?
It's going to be. It might wind up being 5. I have.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 3, but yeah.
It might wind up being 5 because I have about 8 albums in the tank, like 8 sets of music that I need to get recorded. But I have, like, one I want to do a piano trio, another one I want a guitar and a vibraphonist. You know, I have a lot. I don't know if you know this. I have a lot of music.
Well, I don't even know what compositions. I figured you would have kept going. I'm just saying. I thought I heard you say something. Last time I was talking to you about it, it was like a sequence of 3 albums. Or
yeah. I want to make it at least 3.
Yeah. So
at least 3.
What's the next one going to be called? What?
Clowning Around. Clowning Around.
Oh, I thought it was going to be another the something. The Clowning Around.
No. So
what's the, like? How are you approaching this as opposed to those other?
Us having fun. Those 2 records are serious, man. They're like, you can hear that they're serious. Like we were trying to prove a point. Like we were trying to make, like, this is a serious band. We're not messing around up there. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to go for it for you. You know, this one's gonna be a little more fun. We're gonna be clowning around a little bit up there. You know, like having a good time. We're having a little party on the bandstand. You know, and who knows, man? If people come out, I mean, it's up to in Hudson Falls, but like, oh, it's so far. Yeah, but people take day trips to New York or they go to Boston. I mean, you can't drive 45 minutes, really. I mean. Yeah.
Now is it Stacey Davis and James on this one again?
No, it's going to be Jason Emmond.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I still haven't met him yet, but yeah, he's been your guy in the jam sessions.
Jason Emmond.
Got to meet him.
You're a bad dude, Jason Emmond.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest dudes ever. He's just cool.
Now, I guess, I mean, this kind of goes into this new record, but speaking from more about the purpose. Can you kind of give me like a little rundown of how you met each of those guys? And
yes,
like
100%.
And I guess any major like developments in your relationships that kind of led to your creating the album together?
Yes, that's what it's all about. So the first guy I met was Stacy Diller. I was 25, I think, 25. I was at Purchase. I think it was my second year or my second semester. I think it was second year. And Stacy showed up. He was a good friend of this guy, Martin Kelly. And Martin was like, yo, you want to play, man? This is my friend Stacy. He plays saxophone. You guys want to play? So we went to this room. It was me, Ryan Berg on bass, Martin Kelly on tenor. Stacy took out a soprano. I think there was a piano player. And we played. And I played terrible. Because I still didn't really know what I was doing. But Stacy just like made everybody from the first second you met him, he makes you feel so special. He's just, I don't know what it is. It's not, you can't learn how to do this. He just smiles at you and shakes your hand in a way that just, you feel like he thinks you're special. You know? And I was like, damn, this is a cool dude. But then he quit school after like a month because he's a genius. He has absolute pitch, not even perfect yet, absolute pitch. He can tell you the frequency of the note you're playing. It's absolutely scary. So he can play with any musician. Like if you don't play jazz, he loves to play with you.
And he can, yeah, I mean,
because you're not gonna know what you're doing, and he loves it because he makes you sound so good because you can't fool him. You know what I'm saying? You can play all the wrong chords, and he's gonna make you sound great. But from that day, man, forward, I want to be friends with this guy, you know. And I had left and moved up here, and then I moved back down there in 2014 and started going to jam sessions, and I started hanging out with him a lot. We started playing a lot, and I hired him, Victor Gould, and Ryan Bird for my first quartet in New York. And they just, every gig with Stacy was just like the best gig of my life because there was no BS on the bandstand, and he was a team player, and he was so honest with the music. I just wanted to be friends with this guy. I had to have him in my life, and like even to this day, we'll just call each other, talk about basketball, or text back and forth about some funny joke, or it doesn't matter what it is. Or I'll see him play on Smalls Live on TV, and I'm like, "Yo, Stacey, I love that solo on that second tune, or whatever." You know. So we keep a relationship. But with Davis, I was living in New York City. And this was in fall of 2014, and this kid walks in with this hair. Like, it looked like a giant pine tree on his head or something. It was insane. And I was like, "Yo, who is that?" I'm like, "Oh, that's Davis." I was like, "Davis who?" And they're like, "Oh, you know Mark Whitfield?" And I was like, "Yeah." This is at Smalls. I said, "Well, that's Mark Whitfield's son." You know, he was so young. He was very young, man. And he sat down, and he's so cool. He just sits down, and he's like, he just plays, and then he just gets up. He's just like, you know, like, doesn't say a word. He's super calm, super chill. His smile, super infectious. And we just started hanging. I hired him. I called him for a gig. He said yes. That was at Fat Cat with Joe Magnarelli. I think Yasushi Nakamura. I think it was Yasushi, or it was James Robbins. Myself, and it was either Matt Garrison on tenor or maybe Kenny McCabe. I'm not really sure. But he just said, "Man, I love your tunes, man. You write really nice music, man. I'm happy to play them." So I just like, cool, man. I found another guy that likes to play original music, and he put his mark on it from day one. You know? Yeah. So he just makes everything so fun and so fresh. You know. And James Robin, I met him at Smalls. We're on a jam session. It was Sana Kadora's. She's a drummer from Canada, and he had just a white T-shirt on and some old jeans or whatever, and he just looked like, you know, had a beanie cap on and didn't look like this super serious professional. I mean, and I just mean in his look. He wasn't taking himself too seriously. He was loose. So I went up to play, and he introduced himself. I said, "Hey, how you doing? My name's Joe, whatever, you know." And we started playing this tune, and it was like there. And at one point, I just doubled it under the soloist. Yep. And he just goes, and starts going with me. Yeah. And we get to the end of the tune. He's like, "Man, I'm so glad you did that. It felt so good. It was like right at the right time, man. You made the energy like shift in a very good way." And so we exchanged numbers, and then we started playing more. I started hanging with him more, and I started hiring him to come up all the time from Jersey, and just built a relationship with him. You've heard him, right?
Yeah, no, I've seen Stacy live once. I don't think I've seen Davis, but James I saw with you. I met him, and I saw him randomly down at Smalls once, and he was super cool. And I saw him play with John Elbaz, and we talked outside a little. And he was so nice. He's such a sweet guy. He's a monster.
All these guys are cool, man. You know, it just makes it so easy. It makes it easy, but it's like I have to. The bass player has been changing on each album, and I don't think it's not because I want it to. I think it's just evolving that way. It's not on purpose. For the music I'm playing on the next one in May, Jason Edmonds has been playing all this music for like almost a year. Yeah. He knows it. Like and he's got his sound is. What do you hear? His sound, man. His tone is. It's velvety or something. It's like. You know what I mean? It's not electric sounding, and it's not super like low end and muddy. it's like got this velvety quality to it. It's right in that center where it's like it's round and it's warm, but it's articulated.
Growly? Brown?
I don't know. It's nice, like a Ray Brown kind of thing, but like with Scott LaFardo's vibe. It's cool. He's super cool. I mean, he plays exactly the way he is. He's just cool. You know? Yeah. It's like you, bro. You know what I mean? You're cool. I could watch you play all day. You're having so much fun, and you got such a nice sound and a pocket, and it's just like it's just certain people have that, and certain people don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't. You guys have a very similar quality in this. Is that you don't obnoxiously want to be involved in the music. You understand that you're playing bass. You know what I mean? So play the bass.
I like playing bass.
I'm saying some bass players play bass like a freaking guitar, man. You know, and it's like, how are you allowing the other instruments to speak if you're doing that? You know what I mean? I like that there are bass players around that want to play the bass. You know, they want to be a bass player.
Yeah, I'm still working on it for sure, though.
Yeah, but you got to think, man.
It's humbling, man.
I just came in and sat down and listened to you for a few tunes on your. I loved it, man. I heard it outside. I was like, I don't want to be outside. I want to be in there, man.
Yeah,
you know, I want to see what it looks like when these guys play.
Yeah, I was shaking the rust off though, and getting me a little embarrassed.
Oh man, come on, bro. You were smiling, like you got the cool haircut, you know.
Yeah, we just haven't done one of these gigs in like a month, so it's good to get back and.
It's all right.
Grind them a little bit.
I'll probably be there cheering you on, man. You know, like it's right in my hometown, so I'll probably be there. You know,
518's the spot.
It's fun. You
might
be outside, bro. You might be outside.
Oh yeah, I'm saying.
You know, then you're gonna see. You get a crowd, man. You'll be like, whoa, look at this. It's like a concert.
Yeah, man.
You know, make some tips. You know what I mean? Tip your bands. If you go out to see live music and they got a tip jar, tip them. And guess what? Oh, I don't have any cash. Oh, perfect. Well, they see that smartphone in your back pocket. If you just take that out and go to your Venmo or your PayPal or whatever it is, you can just send it to us. Boom. You press that button. Pay.
I gotta start putting one of those signs up, man.
I got a nice sign.
I'm so bad.
I got a good sign, big yellow sign. Man.
It helps. I'm not the most on top of it. I gotta be better.
I have to.
Yeah, when
I couldn't survive.
People are responsive. Like they listen. It's not like they don't want. It's just you do gotta remind them, and you know, people are appreciative. They treat musicians well around here for the most part.
They do. They do.
It sounds like I've seen you.
I'm a little pushy, man. I'm like, come on.
You gotta treat your musicians right. You gotta make the bread for them too.
Yeah, of course. Well, I pay them first. I don't take a dime until they're paid. I don't take nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it encourages me to try to involve the audience in it. And I said last night, I was like, yo, if you got $5 for a beer, you've got $5 for a band. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, that's more the reason you're even there.
Yeah, you're not having a good time because you had that beer. You're having a good time. You're having the beer because you came in to hear the band. You understand? That's just a consequence of being there. You know what I'm saying? But the band was what brought you there.
Yeah.
You know? So help us out. And another thing you got to understand, a lot of musicians do not internalize this. The clubs should not be solely responsible for subsidizing these events. They got crushed the last 2.5 years. Crushed financially. Okay? A lot of them did. A lot of them didn't get those payouts and stuff. And they're trying to find a way to survive and stay open. And I think that, like, right now, I've been very loose with the clubs and working deals out with them in their favor so that they can build back what they lost and try to make it bigger, you know? Which is they are doing that. They are doing that. But if you go in there with the mindset of like, no, you owe me $500, it's like, all right, well, I'll just get a different band, you know? Yeah. How are you going to substantiate me giving you $500? How can you going to bring in 100 people? No, you're probably not. So you're telling him to lose money because you feel like playing. That's stupid business, man. You know?
Yeah.
You come up with a way. You find a way. And the community should be supporting the arts. You know what I mean? He's providing the space. They're providing the seats, the food, the lights, the water, the bathrooms. They're doing everything. They're giving you the space to create, you know? And the communities have to come together. There's enough people up here. You know, we got like, what, 900,000 people or something in the capital region? Proper, the area? That's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. There's enough to go around, man.
It's a good scene. It's healthy. It's, it's spread out, but it's,
But it has to be spread out. Be glad it's spread out. It was all consolidated, it would be very competitive, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
So there's nothing near the Lark Tavern that's going to compete with what we're doing. We are the thing. There's nothing next to 518 Craft that's going to compete with us on a Monday. We are the thing. I tried to pick days where musicians could go, where they could go enjoy themselves. You know what I mean? Now other guys have responsibilities in terms of like some rehearsals, or they're sick, or they're out of town, or whatever. But there's no excuse not to go listen to your friends and listen to these great musicians up here. We have a lot of friggin' talent, man, up here. A lot. Tons.
Dude, I love the scene, man. I'm glad I'm back in Albany now.
It's heavy, man. It's heavy up here. There's some serious stuff going down, man. And we owe it to ourselves to go out and consume it, man. Just immerse ourselves in it and grow and learn from each other. And like this.
Yeah, man, exactly.
If I hadn't met you, we wouldn't be sitting down right now doing this. You got to meet these people for the first time. You understand?
Yeah.
You can't just rely on the people you've already met. You can't keep relying on the same 70 people to support your gigs your whole life. Those people get old, man, and they die, or they're broke, or they're sick, or they have other responsibilities, or they had a third kid. Or you got to keep relying. Are we in the jazz community? The same 70 people that come out to every jazz gig. Enough of that. We need your generation, bro. That's what we need. We need you guys to come out and listen to some of the older cats. The George Moscatellos, the Keith Prays, the Brian Patton, and in turn, we should be going out to. I come out all the time. I'm always out there.
Probably more than me, man. I'm a fucking. I'm a grandma, dude.
No, man. You gotta go out. You have to. That is the single most important component of being a musician, is to be out when you're not playing. Number one, ahead of everything.
Well, like you said, if we hadn't met, it wouldn't happen. Where do you meet people?
That's what I'm saying, bro. What are you gonna meet them watching your television?
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen. You ain't gonna meet nobody watching TV.
Yeah.
You're trying to zone out and forget. I don't want to forget. I want to remember what's going on. And that's not going to happen if I'm not there. And sometimes it frustrates my girl a little bit sometimes, but she is uber supportive. She understands, like, you're a musician. You should be out.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be home, sitting home. You should be out, networking, cultivating a scene. You should be out supporting. Take me with you. We take our daughter. She's 6 years old. We just took her up to 9 Maple Ave to listen to Matt Nabalski's trio.
Oh, Matt.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she just drove her to New York City today to go out. And people say, oh, I have kids. I'm like, and? That's your excuse? You have a kid? I have a kid.
Yeah.
I have a kid, and I'm teaching her what it means to support the arts in her community. How to do it. I give her the money and make her go put it in the tip jar. So she understands that, like, we have to support each other. I'm not going to put her in a safe space bubble in my house.
Yeah.
No way, man. I'm not going to ruin her future by keeping her isolated. The Miles Davises and the Coltranes and all these guys got immersed in a scene. Buddy Rich, Tony Williams, Roy Haynes, all these guys were surrounded by artists and were pushed into going out and absorbing it at a young age. Elvin Jones, Hank Jones, Thad Jones, Mel Lewis. Bro, they didn't sit home. You're not going to find out what your potential is from sitting home. Ever. You'll never know what your potential is in life if you sit home. That's not a way to live. You're going to do a lot of sitting home, man, when you're elderly and your body's falling apart. Is that when you're going to decide that you want to go out? No, man.
Dude, I promise I'm going to come to the gym.
It's not a... Well, you better, right?
You better. I know I'm going to, but like, I totally agree with everything you're saying, man. I mean...
Here's the other thing I don't like.
Yeah.
I'm going to kind of take control of this for a second.
Yeah.
Like you're a drummer, right? Yeah. Okay, Joe. He said he didn't want to sit in after me last night. He's like, yo, you were playing it to a high of a level. Like, I just no way I was getting up after you, so I left. You know what I want to say to him, man? You know who I've sat in right after?
Yeah.
Lewis Nash, Eric Harlan, Jeff Tane Watts, Bill Stewart, Willie Jones III, Joe Farnsworth. I was the next drummer. How are you going to get better?
Yeah.
I want your hands to be shaking. I want you to get up there and be nervous as hell. Why not?
Yeah.
How the hell are you going to learn, man? You got to get over yourself. I'm not scared to play after anybody anymore. I just don't care. I'll play after Dennis Chambers. I don't care. because I'm gonna do me. You know what I'm saying? I can't do him, so I'm not gonna try. Like I'm gonna do what I do.
Yeah, most like people say, he can't do you.
That's what he can't. He can't. What I do, he can't do.
They're just different people. So it's like you said, you have to go out, you have to be there, you have to make yourself involved. And it's, I mean, I appreciate what you do for the scene because you're making those opportunities available. Because honestly, I don't know of a lot of opportunities around here to make that kind of stuff happen. I mean, you as a player, it's kind of on you to create your own, and you've created a lot for other people. So,
It's not without shortcomings, man, because I don't really get paid for this. Okay, I give all the money to the other musicians unless people tip the band. I do not get paid on my gigs. If it's my gig under my name, I don't get paid at all, ever. I go into the gig giving all the money to my band, and it's up to me to make the money. It's up to me. I put that pressure on myself, you know?
yeah.
If I don't do that, then people don't work. And I see these guys go, I'm not going to name names, but people around here, well, the gig's got to pay $100. I went through this little phase where I thought I was entitled. I went through a short phase, okay? And then I realized my entitlement is keeping me home. Nobody's going to call me. You know what I mean? So I said, you know what? I'm going to take a different approach. I'm not going to ask for any money. And I'm going to make it work. You know? I relieved myself of the financial aspect of the music, and now I go in only playing for the music. That's it. I know that I'm not going to make any money. So I'm only playing for the music. And because of that, like last summer, I wound up making way more than I've ever made as a musician in my life last summer. Ever. That was the most money I ever made as a musician. And I went into they'll tell you, man, you know, all the guys I was playing with last summer, I walked into every single gig last summer. I played a lot. Every single gig I walked into not paying myself. Not one. Not a single gig. I was taking nothing. I gave all the money to all the other band members before I took a dime. So if I promised somebody a certain amount of money because they were guest artists, I knew that I had money in my pocket, man.
Yeah.
You know? And I lost money. But then all of a sudden I started making money. So all the money I had lost for the first few months, now I'm making triple of what I put into it. You know what I mean? So I'm all about like long game.
Yeah.
You got to be in it for the long game.
Yeah,
you know? And you can't be worried about like, I got to win this award and I got to make all this money and I got to have this fly ass shoes on and all. It's like, that's dumb. You're playing the short game. Short gamers have a short career. Or they have to keep changing their career because they burned out this end of it and now they're going to go burn this one out and they're going to burn that one out. You know? I'm in this for the long haul. And Spike Weldon from Smalls, when I was working for him, told me a very important lesson. Taught me a very important lesson. He said, the cats that make it have longevity. They're in it for the long haul. They're not in it for themselves, and they're not in it for right now. They're in it forever. That's what this is about. You want to be a great jazz musician? You have to play jazz, and it doesn't pay, and you got to get over that. You got to get over that. Get over it, because it will pay. It will pay. You're going to have to wait for it.
Yeah.
Okay? Because it's going to give you the rewards. In that music, you get rewarded for your work. You don't get rewarded for your playing. You're being rewarded for hard work that people notice over a stretch of time.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm okay with that, man. I'm totally okay with that. I've walked away from, I'm not going to tell you which gig it was. I did a gig. I walked in debt. Okay? Okay? I was playing with some famous dudes. I walked in debt. Okay? At the end of the gig, after I counted the donations and I paid everybody and I gave a $100 bonus to the guest soloist, I went home with $860 in my pocket.
Dang.
Not losing a penny. You know?
Yeah.
I want to teach a seminar, a public seminar on how to make money without any money. Because I don't tell anybody anything about how I do it. You know? I have read books on branding. I have studied it. I know it. I have this business down. You know, the booking. I know how to book gigs. I know how to promote gigs. I know about guerrilla marketing. I know about branding. I know about not selling yourself short or creating a scene where you're competitive with yourself. You can't do that. I can't work at 518 Craft on Mondays and then work across the street at Confectionery on Tuesdays. Nobody's coming to see this group twice in Troy in the same week. Ain't gonna happen.
Same block.
Same block.
Yeah.
So you you've got to spread it out, give a different audience, and make it different. Like the thing at the Lark Tavern, I'm featuring piano trios of some of the best piano players in New York State. Okay, the whole state. I'm doing the jam session thing with my own group, playing my original music at 518. Like you can't keep doing the same thing, but you also have to be good enough. Like I'm shedding a lot lately. I've been practicing a lot, and it's because I have to play a lot of styles coming up, a lot. Okay, with a lot of different kind of people, and it's everything from like Latin to heavy bebop, to my own originals, to some hard bop, to I'm playing in a musical. I'm playing a lot of pop stuff, and I feel like I'm not completely prepared for all of them. So you also have to be able to back it up when you get to the gig. You can't just rely on, oh well, I'll get by. I mean, I can cut the gig. I don't want to cut the gig. I want to crush the gig. I don't want to cut no gig. I want to crush it. I want at the end of the gig for the band to feel like I was the right guy for that gig. I want them to feel like, that was the dude who should have been on this gig. And you can't do that unless you really put some serious work in, and then you get rewarded later on. Yeah. It's all long game. It's all long game, man. So that's how I approach it.
Well, I do have to start getting to the end, so there's room to play stuff off the purpose on the show itself.
Oh.
But I do want to go back over all the stuff you got coming up. So,
sure, man.
So is it next week that the Lark Tavern gig starts?
Yep.
So you got every Tuesday at the Lark Tavern starting next month.
Yep.
And every Monday at 5
At 5 Minute Craft. Then we got the Gary Simolian, Joe Magnarelli Quintet on May 7th. That's 2 sets, 7 and 9 p.m. You can reserve tickets online. Go to Lark Tavern or go to Facebook and look up Joe Magnarelli or look up Gary Simolian and Joe Magnarelli Quintet, Lark Tavern. There's a link. You can go to my page on Facebook if you want. Go to Joe Barna, check it out. I got a lot of stuff coming up. I'm booking another tour I'm doing that tour. So we're at 9 Maple in Saratoga on the 21st of May. Then at 11 a.m. the next morning on Sunday the 22nd, we're at the Daily Grind. Then that night at 6 p.m. we got our CD release party at the Lark Tavern. Then on Monday we're at 518 Craft. We're doing our live rehearsal for the record we're recording. Then on the 24th, 25th we're at the Strand Theater. The first night is at 7 p.m. The second day is at 12 noon in the afternoon. So guys that have gigs, I'm trying to encourage the musicians, if you have a gig at night, come up during the day, clap, sit in, maybe somebody will wind up on the record, I don't know. And then that Thursday, the 26th, we are at Argyle Brewing in Cambridge, New York. Then Friday, the 27th, we're at the Fitz in Syracuse. Place is killing, man. Place is killing. You should get a gig there, man. It's dope. And then on the 28th, we're at the Beer Diviner, Cherry Plain.
Oh, cool, yeah, I put that too. Yeah, those are cool places.
Yeah, so it's like 9 gigs and 8 dudes or something like that, man. It's crazy. And I'm playing. I just counted last night before I went to bed. I have 30 gigs in May. Damn. 30. Bro.
So that tour will be clowning around. That'll be the recording.
That week is it's that band and that album's gonna be clowning around.
Awesome.
The name of the record might change, but that's the vibe, and that's the name of the tune that's probably gonna be the first tune on the album, I think.
Yeah.
It's just such a cool tune, and it's catchy, and it's fun. It's up, it's a little fast, hard bop-ish. It's definitely a crowd pleaser kind of tune. It's coming out of the style of I would say like a Cedar Walton, Art Blakey, Jazz Messengers kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I got in August. I'm going to have Joe Fromm here. Ralph Alama's going to come up. I'm doing Davis Whitfield Trio. We're just doing trio. I'm doing the Bearsville Jazz Festival on the day before Labor Day. They called and asked me if I would play the festival.
Cool. Is that Bearsville Theater?
Yeah, but they're doing an outdoor jazz fest.
Cool, yeah.
Big jazz
I haven't been there yet, but I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing that with Davis and Jason and myself. This is cool, man. It's a lot of stuff coming up. And anything could happen. Like I'm fully prepared for everything to,
More COVID, you mean, or?
No, not necessarily that. just more BS, global garbage to intervene in people's lives. Who knows what's gonna happen, bro?
Yeah, I guess.
We don't know.
But I'm glad you're bringing stuff to Albany and Troy. And
yeah,
it's
man.
been fun, man.
Yeah,
I'm glad we can sit and talk and catch up.
And hopefully we'll do some playing. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, I'll be out on Mondays.
You better be out, man. Come on, bro.
Dude, I know I've been telling you, man. I've
Just
rehearsed
do it,
the
bro.
past 4 Mondays.
Oh, man, he's home working on these muscles, man. That's what he's doing. He's like, I can't go out. I got to do more curls, man. I got to get these biceps popping.
Is Jason tougher than me?
No.
You guys know, dude.
I don't know, man. I don't know. He might be, he's silent. He doesn't say too much.
Dude,
so.
Dude, I remember back when we would do the gigs with Kenny at Lucas Confectionery. A few times after that, me and him wrestled at the Brad.
Oh my God, yes. You guys were going after each other inside the Bradley, man.
Well, nothing like, it was more like he was taking jujitsu. And he was just testing it out on me, and I don't think it got that intense, but we were making people.
Are you kidding me? You're banging into the tables and the radiator.
No,
yes, you were absolutely.
No.
In the front, right in the front near the door.
Yeah, it was in the front.
Yeah, we had to stop it. We're like, Kenny, get off of him. It's cool.
I was winning.
You're kidding? No.
No, definitely the second time.
Kenny was getting very serious about it. He started. He
goes deadpan. He's just like.
Yeah.
He's doing his jujitsu stuff, but no, the second time we fought, I was winning, and then
oh my God, the Bradley.
And then we were making someone at the bar uncomfortable, some random couple, and they were like.
This is what goes on at the Bradley, man. It's chaos.
I haven't been there in a while,
but
I guess that's still what goes on. At the
I had to relieve my official duties at the Bradley. I can't hang there anymore because it's a dangerous. Man,
Kenny sparring too much scared you away.
It's just like it's the best example of a crappy dive bar you could ever dream of. You can't make that room again. You can't. It is there's stuff that has gone on in there, and that the place has a history that you just can't recreate, man. So you get in there, and although it kind of smells a little bit, and it's like everything's falling apart or whatever. And look at the back room, man. What is that back room, bro?
I haven't been there. I don't know. I've been in the front.
They got a pool table that's uneven. The balls don't
You don't go there anymore, do you?
No, they got all these booths that are kind of falling apart. But it's like the old thing. It's like it's charm. It's that it's not nice. You know what I mean? If you want a nice bar, go to Ryan's Wake or something. It's very pretty inside. But if you want some dank ass dive bar where you can get a $6 shot in a beer,
we had some fun times.
Save some money.
Yeah.
That's where we did all the after parties for all these guest artists from Troy Kitchen and the Confectionery. All of us would collectively go over there after these shows, and Stacey Davis, myself, Nick Masters, Jerry Weldon went not to the Bradley, but we used to take him out after he would play in Troy. It's been cool, man. It's been cool to have these little spaces, these little bars where you can go afterward that aren't shut down. They're open till 2. Yeah. So you get done at 11, 10, 11 o'clock. You still got somewhere to go out. So I've had a tremendous amount of fun. I was hanging out there. Adam Siegel used to go out with us. Remember one night it was me, Adam Siegel, I think Awan Rashad, Davis Whitfield. I think James Robbins might have been. It was like a whole crew of just killing musicians and fun people. And we all went to the Bradley and just had a freaking blast. So it was good for that, but it's like you can get wrapped up in being there too much, man. You can be wrapped up in being that dive bar guy. It's fun. It's like you feel like one of the locals and you're just hanging, and everything's cheap, super inexpensive. But I was like, I don't know, man. I can't hang at the Bradley no more, man. My liver doesn't want me to go there, and it's not like my scene anymore. But I did write. It inspired me to write a song, man. My tune "At the Bradley."
Yeah.
I love that tune, man. It's a great tune, and it's what you feel like when you're at the Bradley. That tune is like lilting. It's like this lilting through.
Putting an arm bar by Kenny.
Yeah. Being at Bradley feels like being
beat up by Kenny.
I haven't seen Kenny in 4 years.
Same, man. I haven't seen him.
I don't even know where he is, man.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
Yeah. Kenny, tell us what's up.
He's probably planning his takeover of the world, man. He is, man. He's like that Elon Musk kind of guy. He's like, how am I gonna do it? he's gonna figure it all out, and then all of a sudden you'll see he owns MSNBC or something, and turns it into a cartoon network.
Man, I miss that guy. Well, I miss the Bradley too. I mean, Troy's got good stuff going on.
Troy's got a
now.
scene.
You're leading the charge, man. I'm glad we got to sit and do this. But I'm excited to hear the new album, and thank you.
No, I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah,
man. All right, it's gonna be fun, man. Watch the whole interview. Enjoy yourselves. Share it with people. Thanks.